Hey everyone, how's it going? It's your one and only Daddy on here to bring you AD2L content. Small promotion information before we jump into content. I have a Discord channel where I will be posting more NA Dota tournaments for Archon to Immortal players. So if you're a player or a caster, feel free to join it so you can cast or play some of these games. The link will be in the description below. Let's kick things off with the Hero Spotlight. Today's Hero Spotlight is Monkey King. This week it was banned the most and has a win rate of 87% out of 8 games and was banned 25 times. Looks like people are definitely in the idea of monkeying around. My predictions were not really on point for this week, unfortunately. I only got 2 correct. First series, we will be looking at WSS Cobalt versus Wasted Youth. Wasted Youth takes the series 2-0 against WSS Cobalt. Game 1 Cobalt's draft didn't really have enough damage to deal with the line up of Wasted Youth. Wraith King and Centaur, especially with the aid of Oracle, posed a great threat to the lineup of WSS Cobalt. On top of that, Troll was getting hunted by Lina and getting pressured by the Monkey King in the jungle, making it harder for him to farm. Game 2, they had damage and sustainability on the side of Cobalt, but Wasted Youth won their lanes except their mid lane, which was a draw, and used that advantage with early damage Bat Rider, who had impressive boots and blink dagger timing of 18 minutes. Cobalts could not withstand the overwhelming pressure coming from Wasted Youth, who played their early timing to their best advantage. Second series, we have TBD versus Green Reavers. The series went 1-1, quite an exciting series to have played against TBD. Both games were polar opposites and one-sided. Only thing to take out of the series was PA had a 0 win rate this series. Game 1, Green Reavers had an aggressive lineup and were able to take the lead given the fact that there was a bit too much greed on the side of TBD. Game 2, Green Reavers draft had no damage to keep up in the early to mid game, which gave enough time for Harb's crazy beast like anti-mage to farm and snowball in Game 2. Even though we lost Game 2, we're still having fun. And Snow was also very scary in Game 2. Third series, we have Sabers going head to head against the PSGS. PSGS showed their dominance by 2-0ing the Sabers. Game 1 was very one-sided. PSGS go for the scary Gyrocopter IO duo and have won 2 out of their 3 lanes. But things turned very scary for them due to the presence coming from the Wind Ranger and the ability to bring reinforcements with Gyrocopter IO. It felt like Sabers were throwing bodies against the enemy to try to and buy some time for the Juggernaut to come online, which unfortunately didn't happen, as they had way too much sustain and a lead on the side of PSGS for the Juggernaut to have any impact. Game 2, PSGS picked the Troll, so I'm not really surprised how they won, and Reaver from Sabers sadly did not have the game of his life. Mars didn't really have a +1 or 2 to help him get aggressive, even though they had a Huskar. I don't really think Huskar fits the playstyle of Sabers, as every game they play they suddenly relax or they mess up at the 20-minute mark, which is a very crucial time for Huskar to fight and snowball. Very well played by PSGs with their approach on taking these fights and winning majority of them with minimal casualties. MVP of the series is probably dedicated from the side of PSGS, who plays mid, with his excellent positioning and knowing exactly what his role is in the game. Let's go on to the 4th series, which I personally thought would be a tie, but PZR proved me wrong. They 2-0 PLB in the series PLB versus PZR. I definitely say PZR heard me in week 4 content. They are not doing major role swaps between support and core, and Jamie just went beast mode on his carry in game 1 and 2. Hopefully PZR stick to this same thing, and I'm looking forward for great things from them. Game 1, PA got a rampage with going 27-0-5, but the thing that I don't understand is why lane swap of sending Wiki against PA and Bristleback against Mars is something that PLB thought of doing, as BB actually counters Phantom Assassin, who can dive under tower, and PA can't really handle it well, and Ogre Magi is not a support who can also prevent a tanky Bristleback from coming under tower, who can also die from the quills. On the other hand, Ricky is a big counter to Mars in the laning phase, as you can jump behind him and also dodge the spear with Trickster Trade. So I'm not really sure why this was a thing that PLB considered to do. Game 2 was a similar story. Jamie popped off on his more full-on madman. Even though Jamie had a great game, I think the MVP for this game was definitely Breaker on his DK, especially in the second game. But very well played from both teams. Time for number 5, another series where I thought one team definitely had the advantage. And I was wrong. It was MTL versus ROT series, which went 1-1. Now let us deep dive and see why this happened. It's safe to say game 1 became hard due to a mid-Grimstroke, but I do see that there's some topspin fans in ROT. I've actually been doing some research on seeing how viable mid-Grimstroke is and what kind of team comp is going to make it a success. I think they picked the right team comp, but unfortunately they picked it into Medusa, which is a really hard counter, I believe, of Grimstroke, unless you are able to finish it off. I think if you're going into Medusa, you need something more of a frontline, tanky, run at you safe lane carry than a Monkey King. I believe you need something like a tempo hero who's like a Wraith King, Troll, or Ursa, who can just run at enemy heroes at that 15 to 20 minute mark, where Medusa is not really that strong. Also, if Medusa was not picked, I think game 1 would have went to ROT. It was that Medusa concept which deterred them from winning game 1. But game 2, that was what happened. They had an aggressive frontliner in the form of the Moo Cow Spirit Breaker, and Medusa was banned, and they went with the same Grimstroke Monkey King. I really do like when teams experiment something and they don't lose hope, which is why I have great respect for ROT. Not sure what to speak about the draft, as both drafts were almost the same, had the same idea from game 1 to game 2. MTL took one sloppy fight, which probably was the reason ROT won game 2 very fast. It was very close on the 20-minute mark, and ROT took one fight and did a full-on team wipe by losing only one hero, and that's when the lead mounted up with the Monkey King Grimstroke, and they just took the game from there. Game number 6, well, I think it's safe to say it was a series of unfortunate events. The series between Helmets On versus RRR. This series was keeping the discipline of RRR to the full blast. Game 1, they could have ended earlier, but they kept losing one hero every time they wanted to go high ground. But let me tell you one thing, this game was a massacre. There were heroes dropping left and right on Helmets On. I do want to send my love to Stretchy Arms from Helmets On, who probably got bullied by RRR, who was constantly getting ganked and constantly getting killed. RR both games went for a hunt style game, and game 2 we saw the monster snap, which was probably a scary sight for Helmets On as well. That's all for this week. Oh wait, we have one last series. I always say the best for last. FOTP versus Sull Invictus. At least JoJo can be happy that their intermediate team got a 2-0 this week. All jokes aside though, I don't think people should count FOTP out of the top. They actually surprised me during the series. I really thought games would end faster, but they held on the game, and both games were very close until the 32-minute mark, where Sull lineup just popped off when FOTP made a couple of mistakes, which threw their lead away. We also got to see No Bats Husker. Not sure why people are picking that hero, but luckily for Sull Invictus, FOTP didn't have a really good way to counter Husker, nor anyone who is a natural spirit resolute builder, and looks like they actually didn't build anything to deal with the Husker as well, and the Husker bought enough time for Anti-Mage to carry the game. You know what time it is, it's prediction with Daddy Odin. Okay kids, gather around the fire and let's look at the predictions for week 5 of AD2L season 30. Sull Invictus versus Grin Reavers. It's my game, so I don't want to sound biased or send false things about this game. I will be going in that mindset of 2-0ing Sull Invictus, but they are also a really good team, so it could be potentially a 1-1 kind of series. Next we have FOTP versus WSS Cobalt. I think both teams are having their own struggles in their team comp and drafts, so I want to say 1-1, but I do give some more weight towards WSS Cobalt. I feel like they're a better team than FOTP, but I feel like this game will be a 1-1 series. Helmets On versus MTL. This will also be a 1-1. I think both teams are very even and they share the similar playstyle. This is definitely going to be an exciting game to cast because they are both the run and you style kind of teams, and casters will be having a lot of fun casting a lot of team fights. Next we have TBD versus PSGS. PSGS has a more late game oriented kind of playstyle, and I feel like that's going to hurt them when playing against TBD, who thrive in those kind of playstyles where their heroes farm really fast, especially their mid and safe lane. So unless PSGS do some kind of reform to their playstyle and pick early on and try to control Harb and Snowstorm, I think they'll be in trouble, especially after its 32-minute mark. Next we have PZR versus Sabers. I think this might go 2-0 or 1-1 or 0-2. I can't really say. It's really hard. These two teams have been having very on and off performance. It's not like a stable performance. Sometimes they do really well, and sometimes they do really bad. So I can't really predict this game, but I will probably say 1-1. And I want to give a bit more preference to Sabers. I think they have players who are better well adjusted with each other with a bit more higher skill. Hopefully they do come together in the game, but this series most likely will be 1-1. Next we have PLB versus ROT. This series will be 0-2. I think PLB are not still finding their groove. I think they're still confused in the decision making in their draft as well as in the game, which is probably what is deterring from winning. But they seem to be a really fun group who are having fun, so good luck to them. Wasted Youth versus RR. I think this is a 2-0 in favor of Wasted Youth, given the way they performed in week 4. This is going to be probably a really exciting game because there's two really good teams going against each other, and I really want to see this game unfold as well. This might be a series which goes 1-1 as well, but it is a 60-40. I think I keep more weight against Wasted Youth. I think they're a better team than RR, but it'll definitely be an interesting game to see. I think it will come into the minute details of getting outdrafted or one fight going wrong at the Roshan pet or something like that. Here we have the AD2L Contenders ranking. At rank 1, Sull Invictus, TBD, and Green Reavers. At rank 2, Wasted Youth, Cobalt, PSGS. At rank 3, RR and ROT. At rank 4, FOTP and MTL. At rank 5, Sabers, PZR, Helmets On. At rank 6, PLB. Thy words have been spoken. Thanks for watching the content, and please share your input in the comment section. Helps me make more beautiful content and always constantly improve. If you want to show support towards the channel and you like what we do from the guides and the content that we make for AD2L, please do hit that like and subscribe button. Also go check out all the casters that casted the AD2L games whose content I used to make this video. The links will be in the description below. That's all the time I got. See you guys later. Daddy out and out.